Hello everyone and welcome to Gute Marty Trading. I'm delighted to see you again. We're going to review the latest news from the financial markets. My name is Benoist Rousseau and I've been trading for over 30 years. I'm a member of the CME and the Chicago CBOT, the two largest American exchanges, and I love scalping. So, yesterday, I gave you a technical analysis, providing you with levels, especially on the Nasdaq, which is the index one trade 99.9% of the time. I focus on the Nasdaq because it's the index that moves the most, so it's simply the one that offers the most trading opportunities. If you trade the European indices in the morning, you'll get 2 or 3 opportunities, and then maybe 2 more in the afternoon, so about 5 opportunities in a day, from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. But if you trade the Nasdaq, you'll have 5 great trading opportunities just between 3:30 p.m., when the U.S. markets open, and 3:45 p.m. We're really not at all in the same dynamic, so I'm coming back to the analyses I gave you yesterday because they worked out perfectly, absolutely perfectly. So yesterday, I gave you the good morning trading analysis. It was roughly, let's see here, around 8 a.m. We were in this area. And I told you, if it starts to go up, the 750 zone will be interesting. If we stay above 25,750, we could probably reach 25,800 or even higher. That would be a signal. Also very strong. And so, yesterday at the opening of the American markets, we hit 25,750, a small bearish wave. In the first minute at 3 o'clock p.m., between 3:30 and 3:31 p.m., we hit 708. Then we went back above 750, and from the moment we got back above 750, at 3:32 p.m., we kept climbing, and by 3:41 p.m., we were at 25,800. And above all, the most important thing is that we stayed above it, and then we just kept climbing. To the point that this morning, we're slightly above 26,000 points, so there's no debate. The market is extremely bullish, but be careful. American market. On the Nasdaq, the Dow Jones went up nicely. The SP 500. It also performed well, which is not quite the case for the European markets and other markets, whose details we'll look at later. But we have a strong signal above 26,000. It reached that level overnight. We're stabilizing above it, so everything seems good. Just one thing, be cautious, because look, we're right at the 2-month high. We hit it once before and had a wave of decline. Then it dropped by nearly 2,000 points. We came back to test those levels at the beginning of January. We had another drop of 900 to 1,000 points, and now we're at this level for the 3rd time. So, first contact, the market drops. That's a classic pattern. Second contact, the market drops again. Still a classic scenario. Third contact, another drop. That becomes a bit rarer because now the market is showing it's hungry. So now, maybe we'll be able to break through. So, the goal for the day for all investors on the Nasdaq is to stay above 26,000 points. If we stay above 26,000 points, if we consolidate, if 26,000 points become a support level, there's a chance we could keep climbing. So be cautious, because we're almost at the... We're practically touching, just a few points away from the annual highs. And we've had 2 downward waves where we reached these levels consecutively. Both times, it was Donald Trump who, so to speak, stirred things up a bit too much. Maybe Donald Trump thought to himself, when the Nasdaq hits 26,000 points, I'll drop some big news to make the markets fall. I'll go short. That's entirely possible. Donald Trump doesn't need to manipulate the stock markets. All he has to do is make announcements. And since his family is pretty smart when it comes to managing money, he could call his grandson and say, I just announced I'm invading Mexico. The markets are going to crash. Take a short position, you'll make money. $200 to $300 million in the next 72 hours. So, just a word of caution. Personally, I'd love for us to get a little dip, but I don't believe it will happen. I'm telling you this because I really think the markets want to push higher. I'd like a small downward wave to come back, but very quickly, to the monthly middle era around 1800, and that we get another rebound from there. I'd really like that. I'd feel much more comfortable getting in on that kind of move. After all, after a rise of nearly 1,000 points in just a week since last Wednesday, we're racking up the points. So we catch our breath a little and then we go back in. But you can feel it. There's momentum. There's a drive. We can also see this momentum on the S&P 500, which is also almost touching its annual highs. For now, it's just slightly slowed down. It's not blocked, just slowed down. Two things, monthly resistance and the street, and the 7,000 point mark, which is a very strong symbolic level. Every 1,000 points. For the indices, these are levels where either there are profit takings or there are short sellers who take a bit of risk before we look at the market over the past 2 weeks, especially on the SP 500 short. And that's reckless. There you go. It's like if you act on impulse. I know some people who do nothing but sing, and well, I know them. For maybe 5 years now. Well, it's been 5 years that he's been talking about money, with the regularity of a Swiss watchmaker. You don't exit a market like the Nasdaq just like that. Especially when you have the AI revolution coming. That's when people short. When the market collapses, it's not on these kinds of moves. Right now, the market is just experiencing natural breathing movements. For him, and in this natural zone for the market, well, we have AI, we have the new revolution coming. We have investors' enthusiasm, so there you go, wanting to short this kind of market. It's just being an immature teenager, simply wanting to oppose for the sake of opposing. Why not? Maybe what you're looking for in the stock market is to lose. And yes, you shouldn't believe that people always come to the stock market to make money. Sometimes people come to make money. I say sometimes because I'm not sure that's the majority. Sometimes people come to make money. Many people come for the thrill, others to dream. And then, for some, it's to suit their ego. They want to be right against everyone else. They don't want to be sheep. It would be so. It's so easy to make money if you do what everyone else does. Well, yes, that's how you make money in the stock market. You have to go with the flow. If you go against the flow, you always get swept away. Even Warren Buffett would get swept away if he went against the flow. So let's try to be a bit more like adults. Maybe that should be our good resolution. In 2026, become a little more adult and a little less adolescent. Well, on that note, we've covered the Nasdaq, the S&P, the Dow Jones, a nice rebound for the Dow Jones as well, though much slower. There's less money flowing into the Dow Jones, but it's still decent. There's no particular warning to note. So, gold continues to hold at its record highs, its historical records. We had that famous little rebound on the middle Romeo 4 mic. It touches down on it, then bounces back up. That's a very clean move, a breathing movement, and then it takes off again. Just look at it. That's what it does almost systematically. We saw the same move on the middle R3M. It goes right onto it. A little wave of breathlessness. It bounces off its monthly support below and takes off again. What it did, or could have done, on the R3M, it started to do. It took off again with a lot of energy. Here, this is the episode, an invasion by the Big Enlil. And now, we have exactly the same pattern. We break through a minor monthly support, we start to stagnate, to hesitate. It might be getting a bit expensive. We drop back down, we get a foothold on the support and bounce back, so we confirm that this is the rise. Well, not quite a staircase, my little jump that just keeps progressing on our friend, Bitcoin. All right. It hit its lowest points, its lowest in 2 months, and now it's trying to bounce back. Well, its rebound for now is a very, very small one. Let's say it's purely technical at this point. It's coming back to the lowest levels of the last 15 days and to the lows from 2 months ago. So we're below the monthly pivot point now. We're still seeing downward pressure. But don't worry. We're going to have 3 influencers with big breasts talking about the beacon, and that should bring in a flood of sheep to fleece. Now, on the other hand, our little phase of gloom. Come on, let's go. Let's take it. How about a little French champagne? Please, by all means, with great pleasure. All right, we've tried to bounce back. Yes, 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 yes. Look. Here, we tried to bounce back and now we're stuck at our monthly pivot point, and right now, we've got the energy. On the CAC 40, it's like an Albanian snail crossing the highway. Nothing's happening, absolutely nothing at all. You can feel there's no money in the CAC 40. It's an index one used to absolutely love. That was 20 years ago. 20 years ago. You might not believe me, but the CAC 40 used to be like the little European Nasdaq. It moved, there was great volatility, you could scalp it, it was pure joy back then. Now, it's just become an index. When you've had 8 heart attacks, you can handle its 2.2 level of nervousness. It settles on the monthly pivot point and just waits. It waits for something bigger than itself to make a move. But what's still, in quotes, worrying, though we'll get over it anyway. On the CAC 40, what's concerning is that all the American indices are rising, and it's just stagnating in its lower range. Imagine if the American indices, for whatever reason, start to drop. It's not just going to drop a little. It's going to take a hit, and a massive one at that. When the American indices bounce back, they're at their annual highs. And while the CAC 40 is at its lowest point in 15 days and at its lowest in 2 months, there you have it. At some point, right? Well, it's like a horse. So, should we buy it or not? We're just sitting here, thinking about it. The question is, maybe Donald Trump will buy out the CAC 40. We should send him an email to give him the idea. So there you go, let's wrap up and chown, but let's still finish with the Germans. We always end up with the Germans. Good rebound for Germany. They're catching up a little bit with the American momentum. In any case, over the past 15 days, they're right around 25,100. They're above 25,000 points, which is also positive. They're trying to climb back up. But if we take a bit of a step back over 2 months, it's a nice technical rebound for now. But we're still far from the annual highs, unlike the American indices. So it's not a disaster. They're missing about a little less than 600 points. They're missing 600 points. Come on, let's be very precise. Let's be precise. They're missing 606 points. Very precisely. That's good for the obsessive types. Wait, oh no, actually no, sorry, my mistake. How about some mental math? 539 points. There you go. We have 25 million lives, missing 539 points compared to the all-time high, or rather 1,539 points, 538. Now, on the DAX, we're at 2%, but after a month, we're just about even. By the end of January, there's still a 2% gap in momentum between the DAX, which is one of the European indices holding up the best, and the American indices. So it's clear, if you have 100 euros to invest right now, roughly speaking, you'll put 80 of them in the United States. And if you're a French patriot, a German patriot, or a European patriot, you'll put 10 into your life insurance and 10 into your savings account. That's pretty much what's happening. There's more money coming in, and so without money, nothing really moves. And the last thing I wanted to tell you. And then I'll let you go. No, that's not what I wanted to show you. It's here, rather, there you go. We're in the season of American companies' earnings reports. That's why we have a good momentum right now, because American companies. Even if we start nitpicking, they're good, which explains an Astra rise, etc. etc. On Wednesday, in the high-tech sector, there's one that will be reporting its results. So it's Wednesday after the market closes, so after 10 p.m. and another one and two other big ones, in quotes, in the sector, so on Thursday. We could have a session with a lot of energy. Wednesday will be a bit subdued, and Thursday we'll get the numbers at 10:05 or 10:10 p.m., 5 or 10 minutes after the markets close. But on futures, it closes at 11 p.m. on the indices on Thursday. Potentially, if we look at the week's profile, that's the day when things could really start to move. A lot, so maybe we'll see a new all-time high, a big rally, or take a major hit. It will all depend on the results of two of these strategic companies. Intel, after all. It's not as dazzling as it used to be since we have Nvidia. Now, they're not exactly in the same field, but we can see Tech is worth watching. Nvidia, which has a much greater impact on the Intel stock exchange, but it still remains a benchmark. But listen, good trade, and above all, have fun. This is perhaps the most important thing. And then we'll see each other tomorrow, Wednesday, and I'll switch over for the people from my school. Take care. Ciao, everyone. Bye-bye.